What's up, Hawk fans? I'm back finally. I've been gone for a while, I know, but I'm back for a very good fight week. It's in Mexico, and it's headlined by Steve Erceg and my man Brandon Moreno. No homo, but he's gonna tear shit up this Saturday. That's a advice I'm giving you right in the beginning, but we'll go more into it as I get onto the card. We're gonna start off with the prelims, and then we'll move on to the main card. It's a pretty good fight card for a fight night. I'm not gonna lie, not bad at all. And we will be going over all the fights today, and we'll be going over different lines that I'm going to get from the website. Actually, I'm not gonna say the website because they don't pay me nothing. That's a reference to a fighter in the past. If you don't know, figure it out. Anyways, we're going to start off. First fight, we got Markel Medeiros versus Austin Hubbard. So, this one, we're going to go over some of Markel's previous fights. His last fight was in February of 2024 with a win. Prior to that, he was on the Contender Series. He won that fight. It was a pretty dominant fight. He won by TKO. However, he hasn't fought since February of last year, so he was supposed to have a couple fights, but they did get canceled for various reasons. He is coming back now against Austin Hubbard, as I mentioned. Austin Hubbard, he is on a kind of a off, win-loss. His last fight was about 5 months ago, a loss to Alexander Hernandez. He won against Michael Figlak, and then had a loss back in 2023 against Kurt Holloway. So he's been on a skid. It's a win-loss, kind of like a journeyman, record. We're going with Markel on this one. I'm not sure if Austin Hubbard's made the changes necessary, but we're banking on Markel Medeiros I'm thinking it'll probably go to decision. So if you guys are going on the over-under scale, you guys can probably lock it in. The current odds that I see on my website are it's over-unders 2.5. It is a pretty heavy favorite, minus 275 to go over 2.5. If you parlay that with Markel, you can get a pretty decent odd. So we'll move on to the next fight. As you can tell, I have a little bit of a ring rust since I've been gone for a while. You can tell by my beard. But I was told if I get rid of the mustache, it can prevent me from going to Dagestan for 2-3 years and forget. Next fight, we got Jamal Emmers, and he's going on against Gabriel Miranda. We're going Jamal Emmers here. I just don't like Gabriel Miranda's mustache. No, I'm kidding. It's actually not a bad mustache. But he's been on a skid as well. Last fight was in 2024. He lost by TKO. His fight prior to that, he beat Shane Young by submission. And then he also lost prior to that, but it was against Benoit Saint-Denis. So not too much judgment there. However, we're feeling maybe Jamal Emmers might give this young guy a little bit of trouble. He is on the come up, but let's let's see how it goes. But we're definitely going Jamal Emmers this week. Next fight, we have Rafa Garcia versus Vince Pichel. We're going Rafa Garcia here. It's a fairly easy one. I mean, Rafa Garcia has been pretty decent on his record. But when you look at Vince, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right, by the way. It's spelled Vince without an E. So when we take a look at his last record, his last win was in 2021 against Austin Hubbard, and that was by decision. So nothing too dominant there. He had quite a few canceled bouts. Got a canceled bout against Mark Madsen. Then they fought, and Mark Madsen beat him. Then 3 canceled bouts right after that, back to back, including against Benoit Saint-Denis and Ismail Bonfim. Then again, when the Ismail Bonfim fight was rescheduled, he did lose via decision. So, I don't know. I'm not really feeling like he's made any changes so far. So we're going Rafa Garcia by dominating fashion. I think it'll be a first round finish, maybe second round finish. I'm going to move on to the next fight. Right. We got Lupi Godinez versus Julia Pilastri. This one, if the circumstances were different in this fight, like where the fight was gonna take place, I would go Julia on this one. However, it is taking place in Mexico City, and Mexico City does have a pretty high elevation. And just based on where each of these girls train, I think Lupi might have the advantage here if it goes into the second or the third round. So, I mean, Julia can get a finish in the first round, but Lupi isn't the type of fighter to just, make a mistake in that first round and get finished. So I think it is easily going to go into the second and third round, and Lupi will win by decision, just based off that conditioning, just off the conditioning advantage that she has over Julia. Let's go into the next fight. We got Christian Rodriguez and Mel Costa. This is going to be a similar comparison to the Lupi fight. We got Christian Rodriguez. I would generally, if this was taking place elsewhere, I would take Christian Rodriguez. But I think Mel Costa will probably get a finish in the third round. I think it is going to definitely go into the third round. And Mel Costa is definitely going to have that conditioning advantage as he trains in Sao Paulo, which has a high elevation, and he kind of has that advantage over Christian in that sense. So we're going Mel Costa to win, and I don't think it'll go to decision. I think Mel will finish him in the third round as Christian Rodriguez kind of just gets too tired and maybe gets caught in a chokehold or something like that. I don't think it'll be a TKO. I think it'll be a submission. So that's my prediction for that fight. All right, next fight. By the way, I'm going in order of, what it's listed as for the prelims and the main card. So these are always subject to change. Sometimes fights do get canceled, or a fighter pulls out, or for whatever reason UFC decides to change up the orders, and that can happen. But I'm just going in the order of the prelims where they're scheduled to take place. So next fight, we got Jose Medina versus Atiba Gautier. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I think I did a fairly good job. We're going Atiba Gautier by first round finish. That one, I don't have much to say about this one. He does win a lot of his fights by finish. I think only one of his fights have gone to decision. Sorry, two of his fights have gone to decision. One of them he did lose, but his five out of his 6 wins have come by knockout. So I think it's going to be another one here. I think it's going to end in the first round. All right, and we got the last fight on the prelims. We have Edgar Chairez versus CJ Vergara. This one's going to be a tough one. The problem with these guys are, they're both coming off a loss. We got CJ is coming off of 2 losses. His last one being in October of 2024 against Ramazan Temirov, and prior to that against also Almabayev. So he doesn't have any, he did beat Clayton Rodriguez back in 22, but he doesn't really have any impressive wins just yet. I mean, he is a younger dude. He's still 33. He's still got some time. He could improve, but I haven't seen much from him just yet. Edgar Chairez is also a fairly young fighter, 29 years old, and he is also coming off that loss against Joshua Van. We're going Edgar Chairez on this one. I think it'll go to decision, but so I would definitely take over to, I believe it's still 2.5. Let's take a look. I know it was last I checked, but sometimes they change it up. Let's see. Yeah, we got over 2.5. It's pretty good odds, minus 140. Sticking to that, and then I think Edgar Chairez will win. He is a favorite at current odds minus 260. So I believe those are fair odds. That's where I'm putting my money for sure. And let's move on finally to the main card. All right. So first fight, we have Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. We're going Ronaldo Rodriguez here by submission. I take that back, but I'll for sure say finish, but that could definitely be either knockout or submission. Either way, I think that's gonna. I don't think it'll be in the first round. Maybe second round. That would be my best guess. And yeah, that's what we're doing. And then let's move on to the next one. We got David Martinez versus Simon Oliveira. We are going David Martinez here, probably by decision. Let's take a look. He's on quite a good winning streak, and Simon Oliveira is coming off 2 losses plus a canceled fight. I think it's a pretty clear we're going with David Martinez here. He is currently at, his odds are, let's take a look. He's a somewhat heavy favorite at -360, so we'll keep it there. I'm not too confident on the over-under because this fight could go to decision, but it could also end in the third round. I don't know. I know they get into the specific minutes there, so I don't want to give my pick. I'm going with over, but just to be on the safe side, I would stick to David Martinez, just straight money line. All right, next fight we got Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. I'm kind of excited about this one because I want to see more of Joe Pyfer. I like watching these young guys that are on the come up. Some of them have hype behind them, which Joe Pyfer is one of them. I like to see how they do against these veteran fighters. Yes, we know Kelvin Gastelum has a bit of his last few fights, have been on and off. But don't forget, he did win his last fight against Daniel Rodriguez. His last fight that he lost was against Sean Brady, who just beat Leon Edwards. He beat Chris Curtis before that. His record was a little bit off prior to that, but he was a middleweight back then. Keep that in mind also. So his last two fights, he's fought at welterweight, and he lost to Sean Brady and beat Daniel Rodriguez. So, it's not so bad here. Here's what I'm thinking. I think if Joe Pyfer is going to beat Kelvin Gastelum, it's going to be in the first round. And here's the thing. I can see Kelvin getting submitted in the first round. I can't see him getting finished. So it's a tough one. I think, call me stupid, and I know it is stupid, but I'm feeling upset here with Kelvin Gastelum, kind of keeping Joe Pyfer in check, showing him, hey, you're at a serious level now. This isn't, back in the prelims. You're getting into serious waters here, which is exactly what Joe Pyfer needs, which is a lot of what these younger fighters need. We saw actually Raul Rosas Jr., that happened to him when was it? Let me double check. This was when, I think it was actually Daniel Rodriguez. No. Let's take a look. Christian Rodriguez, yeah. This was when, his hype was up there, he's on a winning streak. And then they put him up against Christian Rodriguez, and, Raul Rosas Jr. wasn't really used to getting past that first round or second round wins. So his cardio was tested, his durability was tested. And, sometimes these younger fighters need that, for sure. And I think Joe Pyfer might get that here. So, again, I think if Joe Pyfer is to win this fight, it's going to be in the first round. But I think Kelvin Gastelum is going to take this by decision, for sure. So that's a pretty good underdog to take at currently plus 240. It could go up or down, but I would say lock that in as a straight bet. If you want to go for a long shot parlay and you want to add that in there, go ahead. All right, let's move on to we were just talking about Raul Rosas. He is going up against Vince Morales. Let's see what we have. We have Vince coming off of 2 losses. both by decision. Raul, his last loss was the one we just discussed against Christian Rodriguez back in 2023. He's been on a good win streak since then. And I think he's going to get this win as well. In the second round, I think it'll be by submission. Moving on to the co-main events. Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober. All right. We got Drew Dober coming off a couple losses. Well, let's go a little prior to that. So he did beat Bobby Green back in 22. That was by knockout. And then he lost against Matt Favola. Beat Ricky Glenn. And then he's coming off of 2 losses. One against Renato Moicano. The second one against Gene Silva. The loss against Gene Silva, I believe, if I remember, it was a finish, but I think it was like a doctor stoppage or something with a cut, or I don't know. But let's move on to Manuel Torres, what he's done most recently. So, he's been pretty good. He's got quite of a win streak. His most recent one was a loss, but it was against Ignacio Bahamondes. So we're not going to judge him too harshly on that one. So here's the thing. Again, I know I keep bringing it up, but the situation with like these high elevation areas, they do play a big role on, if it's not a first round or second round finish, it does play out a lot on how the fight goes because, you have the advantage by depending on where you train. And again, Manuel Torres, he's, let's see, yeah, so I think Drew Dober is going to have the cardio advantage here, and he is also an underdog. We're going to go with Drew Dober. I think this will be a third round finish, maybe a second round finish, but we're going Drew Dober here. All right, last but not least, we have the main event, Steve Erceg versus Brandon Moreno. All right. No disrespect to Steve Erceg here, but Brandon Moreno is going to take this one. Steve Erceg coming off of 2 losses, Alexander Pantoja, and then he was finished by Kai Kara France at UFC 305. So, it's an easy Brandon Moreno decision here. Brandon Moreno also had 2 losses, one against Alexander Pantoja, one against Brandon Royval. I don't personally believe he lost the fight against Brandon Royval. That's just my personal opinion. I know people disagree, but, they do share a common loss there with Alexander Pantoja. And then Brandon Moreno's most recent fight was against Amir Albazi, and that was a pretty decisive win. And we're going with Brandon Moreno here. Not much to say. No disrespect to Steve Erceg, but I just think Brandon Moreno's still the better fighter here. I think it'll be by decision. I don't really see a. I don't know if there will be a finish. I think we're gonna go with decision here, for sure. And current odds for Brandon Moreno are at -230, which isn't bad. It's pretty good. You know, I would have been a little worried if it was more at like -300 or -320. I'd be careful with my money over there, but you're getting pretty good odds at 230. So I would say take it. And that's it for today, guys. I will be doing more of these soon. And then I'm not just going to be doing picks. I want to do, go over a lot of different news that come. There's something new every day. I mean, Conor McGregor is running for fucking president of Ireland. So there's something new every day going on in the sport. So I will be making some more videos talking about just news, or if, even rumors, things like that. So follow, like, subscribe. Tell me if you think this beard equates to 2-3 years in Dagestan or not. Because if not, I'm going to get rid of it because it looks stupid. But yeah, thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful day. Go make that money on Saturday. I'll see you guys soon.